This is lesson 32, and we'll be finding our musical alphabet on the keyboard. So I just want to make very clear that this is not a course on learning to play the piano. I will not be teaching you piano skills or keyboard skills. That said, for any musician, understanding the basics of how the keyboard is laid out is very helpful when it comes to understanding the logic of pitch and how the musical alphabet really functions. It's also really helpful for any instrumentalist or vocalist to have a basic understanding of how to find pitches on the keyboard in order to use the keyboard, if it's in tune, as a plumb line for finding pitches on your instrument or pounding out the melody of a hymn or a song you're trying to learn. In musical terms, pitch refers to how high or low we perceive a musical tone to be. There are two basic types of sound waves: random waves and uniform waves. We perceive random waves as indefinite pitches, so essentially noise, and uniform waves are perceived as definite pitches or musical tones. In Western music, we refer to specific uniform waves or musical tones by letter names. The musical alphabet consists of just 7 letter names: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we just continue to repeat that: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, etc. If we are ascending or getting higher in pitch, we go through that alphabet forwards: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If we are descending or getting lower in pitch, we go backwards through the alphabet: G, F, E, D, C, B, A. The composer represents pitches or specific musical tones on the staff by placing note heads on and above and below the staff. So a note head on space 1 will have a different pitch than a note head on space 4, as long as we're still in the same clef. So we'll begin just by getting oriented with the keyboard. So this is a full-length keyboard, which means it has 88 keys, and well, probably obvious to all of you, I want to leave no stone unturned, so we're just going to point out that our lowest notes will be down here on the left, and then our middle range will be right about here in the middle of the piano, and then our upper range will be up here. While we're here, I just want to point out the recurring pattern we see on the keyboard. So other than this, which is a partial group, we always have a set of 2 black keys, followed by a space where there is no black key and the white keys are just touching each other, followed by 3 black keys, and another space where there is no black key and the white keys are touching each other. 2 black keys, space, 3 black keys, space, 2 black keys, space, 3 black keys, space, 2 black keys, space, 3 black keys, etc. The notes of the musical alphabet, unaltered, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, are located on the white keys of the piano. Of those 7 notes, when we're in keyboard land, the C is the note that is most often used as the orienting note on the keyboard. So C's are very easily found on the keyboard. And that's because if you find any group of 2 black keys and go to the white key immediately to the left of that, this will be your C. So this is your lowest C on the piano. And then we can skip ahead, find our next group of 2 black keys, and immediately to the left of that, that white key will be a C. So this is our next C, 1 octave higher than the one I just played. And then we find our next group of 2 black keys. The note immediately to the left of that is our next C. And then we find our next group of 2 black keys. The white key immediately to the left of that is our next C. This is 1 octave higher than the C I just played. And then again, moving higher to the right of the keyboard. Here's our next group of 2 black keys. The white key immediately to the left of that is our next C. Find our next group of 2 black keys. Immediately to the left of that is our white key, which is a C. And then we find our next group of 2 black keys. Immediately to the left of that is our next C. And then you could see after this group of 3, there's our 2 white keys with no black note between. And that's the same pattern we have here. So this is actually our last C. Once we locate a C on our keyboard by finding a pair of 2 black keys and finding the white key directly to the left of that, no, that's a C, we can then find all the other letter names of our basic unaltered musical alphabet just by following the musical alphabet up and down. So C, this would be a D because it's one white key farther, one step away. E, F, G, A, B, C. If we want to descend through that or go lower in pitch, we just go backwards through the alphabet. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So once again, I'm going to find a pair of 2 black keys and go to the white key directly to the left of those. This will be my C. And I'm going to play through the musical alphabet from one C to the next C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And note that this C will be 1 octave above this C because I've covered the span of 8 notes or 8 letter names or 8 keys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Note that the C's are included in that count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. The pitches I just played would be easily written in the treble clef. So I'm just going to draw a treble clef beginning on line 2. I bump up to line 3, down to line 1, up and around, down with a little hook. And that first C I played would be represented right here with our first ledger line below the staff, and this would be our C. So here's our G because this is the G or treble clef, F, E, D, and this is our C. Then I just moved by step through the letter names. So that was our C, then our D, then our E, then our F, G, A, B, C. And then I often repeated that C. So I had stationary motion, static motion, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So obviously we know that there are many C's available to us on the keyboard. So how do we know which one to play at any given moment? Or how do we know which one to sing if we're a singer, or to play on another instrument if we're an instrumentalist that's not a keyboard player? The way we know which one to choose on the keyboard or any other instrument or with our voice is by looking at a sheet of music and seeing which specific C the composer has prescribed for us to sound. So returning to our treble or G clef and knowing that this is a G, let's write 3 different C's in the treble clef. So I'm first of all going to go down, F, E, D, and our first C that we're going to write will be right here on our first ledger line below the staff. And then I'm going to start at that G again. G, go up, A, B, C. Here's my next C I'm going to write, and then I'm going to keep ascending through the musical alphabet
D, E, F, G, A, B, and our C above the staff would require 2 ledger lines, and it would be a line note. So let's hear what this would sound like on the keyboard. Our first C would be here. Our next C would be here. And our final C would sound like this.
So looking at the keyboard, it would look like this. Our first low C below the staff would sound like this and would be located right in the middle of the keyboard. Sometimes call this middle C. So this is our low C, and then our next C would be here, and then our final high C would be here.
So how would a composer specify the lower C's on the keyboard? Well, in treble clef, it's going to get pretty tricky because you're going to get a whole lot of ledger lines if you try notating those lower pitches in the treble clef. So what he would do is he would probably choose a different clef to represent those pitches more easily. So maybe the bass or F clef. So we would start that on line 4, bump up to line 5, draw half a heart, stopping just under line 2 with a dot in space 4 and 1 in space 3. Remember, this is called the F clef because these dots highlight line 4. There's our F. So let's find some of the C's in the bass clef. We're going to climb up the music scale first to get to our first C. So here's our F, climbing up, G, A, B, and our first C will be up here on our ledger line above the staff. And then we're going to head back down. So F, E, D, C, right in the middle of the staff on space 2. We have our next C, and then we're going to keep going down. B, A, G, F, E, D, and then our C will be down here. We'll need 2 ledger lines, and our C will be a line note on that second ledger line. So let's listen to what this would sound like. This first pitch will sound like this, and then our next lowest, and our next lowest.
Recall that for our treble clef C that we began with, we started right here and I said it was middle C. Well, that actually happens to be also where this C is. So you'll notice that same exact pitch in the bass clef is notated with 1 ledger line above the staff, and in the treble clef, it's 1 ledger line below the staff. So here's our first C in the bass clef. And then our next C would be here. And then our lower C would be here. So you can see I've traveled quite a bit farther to the left on the keyboard, and I was able to read that fairly easily because I'm in the bass clef. Had we written that in the treble clef, there would be so many ledger lines, it would take me 10 minutes just to count them, never mind go all the way through my alphabet to figure out what note it is. So that's not practical to read in any kind of a time-sensitive way. So this is why we have different clefs, because it's easier to read different ranges of pitches in different clefs. So depends what the composer wants to hear, which specific C he wants, and he will choose a clef based on that.